早急に取り掛かるぞ。
East 1. The Dora is the 9 of cracks. The player is South.
I'd love to see some tile drawing magic here.
Let's see how this battle unfolds. Who's going to make the first call here? The player. 2 tiles to Tempai.
This hand is really beginning to come together.
This table is so quiet I could hear a pin drop. Things are at a standstill. Oh, wow, and there's a call. Who's going to pull away from the pack? Another useless draw. How are the players going to... Any calls? Took a pass for now. No one dares to make the... What to do with this time? Still holding back. The air is very tense at this moment. I see storm clouds on the horizon. The player. 1 tile to Tempai.
This hand is very near completion.
The player. Still no calls.
Beach.
There it is! Nietzsche! The player on the right decides to match the player's discard. Oh! Making a move here.
That kills the Ipatsu.
The player on the right is playing cautious. The player across. Here we have a cheat.
The player on the right won't be taking risks here.
The player on the left is on the defense against the player's Nietzsche. The player! Can this hand withstand the heat? Ah, geez! The player on the left. A very swift win off the wall.
That was a very quiet start.
The player... East 1. 1 counter. The Dora is the 4 of Bams. The player is South. The player on the left is in first. The player has less than 30,000 points.
At the moment, this is anyone's game.
This is not an easy spot to work around. Any calls? Took a pass for now. The player. 1 step in the right direction.
The next few tiles could make a huge difference.
The player. First place is well within striking range. The player. 2 tiles to Tempai.
This is the point where skill really factors in.
The air is tense as the players take their turns. The player. 1 tile to Tempai.
It's important to find the best possible weight.
Uh-oh! East has declared Nietzsche!
I'm curious to see if this develops into a confrontation.
Will it be possible to catch up here? The player's going for it!
That tile made it through.
Not giving up on this one. Safe!
This tile is blocked off by 3 discards.
have things what to do with still holding back. The player still no calls. The player, Tenpai! Is this hand going to end quietly? Chase! Oh my!
No.
There it is! The player on the left takes a beating.
That took care of that East Beach. The player.
I'm East 2. The Dora is the 9 of cracks. The player is East. The player came out ahead after a fierce exchange of fire.
Moving into first place, at least for the moment.
The stage is set. Anything can happen. Another useless draw. The player is already one tile to Tenpai.
Certain tiles will fit right into this hand. Others will gradually transform it.
Oh wow, and there's a call. This hand is going nowhere. How are the players going to eat? My, oh my, and there's the beach!
I'm curious to see if this develops into a confrontation.
Question is, can the players survive this situation? The player's going for it!
That tile made it through. The player on the right has discarded that tile.
Not give. Ah, jeez! The player suffers an unexpected loss.
That was a speedy finish.
Reach.
East 3. The Dora is the 7 of dots. The player is North. The player is in the lead, at least for the moment.
Hopefully this will end without any incidents.
Now, let's watch how things develop. The player, already 2 tiles to Tenpai.
This hand is really beginning to come together.
Any calls on the took a pass for now. East is looking to shut things down.
I'm curious to see if this develops into a confrontation.
Question is, can the players survive this situation?
The player on the right has discarded that tile.
There it is! The player across suffers an unexpected loss.
That was a speedy finish.
Reach.
East 3, 1 counter. The Dora is the 4 of bams. The player is North. The player on the right is in first.
The point leader is not terribly far away.
Is this a battle that can be won? Who's going to make the first call here? The player, 2 tiles to Tenpai.
The next few tiles could make a huge difference.
Draws yet another simple. The player is already 1 tile to Tenpai.
This hand is very near completion.
Oh wow, and there's a call. The player on the left drops a pair. No one dares to make the first move. The air is very tense at this moment. Look at that! The player, Tempa!
私が行く。
The player across, that's a pawn. The player across, here we have a con. The new Dora is 8 bands. Oh my! Amazing! What a spectacular draw!
A very impressive finish. The player.
I'm simply blown away! East 4. The Dora is the 4 of cracks. The player is West. Heading into the final hand of the match.
The player is in first and will normally play the hand fast.
Is this a lead that can be defended? This table is any call. Took a pass for now. The player, 2 tiles to Tempai.
This hand is really... Oh!
The player, what to do? Still holding back.
私が行く。
The player across. Calls the player. Is it time? Still no calls. Another useless draw. The player on the left drops a pair.
This north could be kept as a safe tile.
Have things calmed down for the moment?
G.
The player on the left calls to form a Dora meld. The player is already 1 tile to Tempai.
It's important to find the best possible weight.
The player across. Here we have a cheat.
終わらせる。
There it is. I hear a roam.
With a fine play, no doubt about it.
本一一通ドラワンラン。
全然なってない。すべてやり直せ。